Hello everybody, thank you very much for joining me today for another Twilight Zone video in my Twilight Zone review series, where I rank every episode of the original Twilight Zone from my least favorite to my favorite. Today I'm going to be talking about number 110 on the list, 2, written and directed by Montgomery Pittman. This is a Season 3 episode. It was the first episode of Season 3 that aired, as a matter of fact, and as always there will be episode spoilers. So this one's about two people who were opponents in the war, and they're survivors of an apocalypse, and they meet each other, but they are suspicious of each other's intentions until they learn more about each other. Now, this is one of those episodes that only has two characters, and Charles Bronson and Elizabeth Montgomery do a good job in their roles. They have to carry the whole episode, and they do. So, what's interesting about this episode is that the characters are given no names. They're just called the man and the woman. This is a mostly dialogue-free story, and that was something I really liked about too. I always appreciate when a TV episode or a movie can tell a story visually. That's always great. There are some tense scenes in this episode as well, and it's interesting to see the two characters and how their relationship changes and develops throughout the episode. One of the scenes I really thought was pretty tense was when both characters just grab rifles and point them at each other. There's also a scene where it seems like things are getting better, and the woman sees something that reminds her of the war, and she freaks out and starts shooting at the man. But, I thought this was pretty realistic for the most part. There are a few things that hold this episode back a little bit for me, though. The whole thing does feel just a little too abstract, maybe a little too random at times. Maybe that was intentional to show like the chaos of what happens, after a war during an apocalypse. But it's just kind of hard to put some of the scenes together. They're just kind of very random. Like the two characters, one minute they're getting along, then they're fighting, then they're getting along again. It's just a little strange. Also, there's no real twist to this episode. The man and the woman just kind of walk off together at the end, and then Rod Serling says it's a love story, in the Twilight Zone. It's kind of abrupt and it's kind of corny. But to be fair, this ending does fit with the themes of the episode, and they chose to go for a more hopeful, positive ending here, which I guess is pretty nice as well. It just felt like it was very sudden to me. So, this is just an okay average episode for me, on the upper end of average, if that makes sense. And fans of the two performers, Elizabeth Montgomery and Charles Bronson, might really enjoy this episode even a bit more, as they do give good performances. But, for me, this episode comes in at 110. So as always, feel free to leave me a comment on the episode too, if you like it or didn't like it, if you think my rating is good, or should I rank this one higher or lower. As always, thanks for your support, and thank you very much for watching.